Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a general and personality tarot reading for SHINee member Minho. Actually a fan reminded me, and I do appreciate this, that I actually read for, I believe, a lot of members. They have their personality readings, and I haven't done one for Minho in my channel. I believe I did pull cards for him like during my live streams, but yes, he doesn't have a personality reading. So yes, this is my moment to actually like get back to work with this, and also to remind myself, because I lately had been feeling a strong, sort of desire for him to be my bias, my shiny bias. So, I've been watching a lot of his content, his videos. He's beautiful. So, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to enjoy it myself as well. So, let's start the reading. Let's remember his sun and his moon sign. When it comes to astrology, I believe he's a Sagittarius with a moon in Capricorn. So yeah, that's also very valid to add to the interpretation. So yes, let's begin with the archetypes that he got. He got the archetypes of scribe, saboteur, and martyr. Then from the cards that I pulled, the tarot cards, he had the Ten of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Page of Swords, and Wheel of Fortune. A lot of idols get the Ten of Swords lately. Like, I wonder what's going on with this, especially in the center of the reading. Somehow I can't stop looking at it. So let's begin with the archetypes. Definitely, if we start with the archetype of a scribe, and I'm thinking about someone that is very smart, and someone that is always learning, and someone that is always like educating themselves and eager to learn, and to absorb information, and probably I don't know, write about it, or just being very good at, collecting information, having a great memory, having a great imagination. Also, when it comes to writing his own book, his own memoirs. I definitely here with the scribe archetype. I think that in this point in his life, when it comes to the construction of his personality, I think that Minho somehow lets me know that he's like, sort of like going a bit like taking distance from a prior image that people had of him, or a prior personality trait that he was like, oh yeah, this is Minho, this is how he is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the fans were like, oh yeah, this is how he has been behaving all these years, so yeah, he's this sort of person. And with these archetypes, as I was pulling them, I got this very strong intuition of like him telling me like, I'm not like people think I am. I actually am very different, and I'm very opposite. And I think that there's this need to be like, I'm actually smarter than what I look, or actually I have much more substance to my character than just being handsome, or just being, I don't know, an athlete, or a champion, or someone competitive. I think that he's in this period where maybe if he does compete with someone, he would like to compete when it comes to showing his knowledge, or like how much he knows about something, collecting information. Because he's like, I've always been this smart, but I never had the chance to show it. I wasn't allowed to show it. I wasn't allowed to show how knowledgeable I am, how intelligent I am, how nerdy somehow he is, and how he's so passionate about information, and about, just having interesting conversations. And I think that there's something here with the scribe that he's like, I've been thinking a lot about writing my own memoirs, about writing my own biography, about writing what I know, sort of collecting his experiences in the past. I mean, like, I need to make room in my mind, and I need to write it down, or I need to somehow organize my thoughts, my moments, to, leave them, like write them down and leave them on paper, collecting all the information that he has about his journey, his personal journey. He probably has a journal, or he has a sort of like, or he does journaling. I see him like being very much into writing things down, but also like him being very smart, very very smart guys. Then with the saboteur, with the archetype of the saboteur, I definitely think that um, sometimes I don't see him like the one that he sabotages himself, but I think that he has this archetype that is like telling me that he could have been greater at some point in his career, but he decided not to. I don't know if it's because of the sake of the group, or a lot of things happened in the middle. So he sort of got stuck with this archetype of the saboteur. Sort of like, I do admit that I somehow turned down certain projects or certain activities because I didn't want to, somehow like, interrupt other people's journey. Um, but in behind the saboteur archetype, there's also this, maybe this very like wrong belief that you are not good enough, or that if you actually make it and you make it and you are praised for it, is that you don't deserve it. That you feeling like, okay, like this will never work out. I will never get this, so I better do not try it. So I think that there's something about him being this sort of saboteur kind of archetype, and being like, yeah, I do recognize sometimes I spoil opportunities and situations on purpose. Sometimes I do say the wrong thing, I do act impulsively, and I spoil things and then I regret it. But I think that he sort of does it to protect himself. He sort of does it because somehow there's a part of him that he believes he doesn't deserve it. There's a part of him that he's like, do I really deserve to be happy? Like, is happiness for me? Like, do I deserve to be happy? He sort of punishes himself a lot when it comes to feeling joy and happiness, and feeling like, okay, I made it. He feels a bit guilty about this. Then we have the archetype of the martyr. Again, feeling like, okay, like, yeah, like, um, you know, like I really feel like I shouldn't do things for myself. Like I have to devote myself to others. I have to do things for others because the others need me. So I cannot put myself as a priority. And behind all this, then with the martyr, there's a part of him that, yeah, he does things for others, but he can actually complain about it. So there's something about him also whining a lot, like, okay, like, yeah, I'm so selfless, or I do this for others, but then I also let them know that I feel bad, that I'm not feeling comfortable. With the martyr, it's like somehow it's not blaming other people for your problems, but it's like, I didn't do this because I stay with you, or I didn't go on this trip because I sacrificed for you, something like this, and probably there's something about this archetype. As he gets older, he can get more and more on the archetype of the martyr, somehow regretting his situation, or making everyone regret. Like it's like, oh, we shouldn't have invited you, because you start complaining, and it's like, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. So he definitely has this part where there's like an open wound, about all the things I should have done and I didn't. There's like this constant sort of narrative in his mind, that is part of his character. You know, I think that he sort of acknowledges that he can be annoying. You know, that he can actually, just like how he smart he is, and how, you know, knowledgeable he is about a lot of things, the same knowledge that he has, he also can like somehow say very harsh things, or just like you know, probably like complain a lot, you know, like, oh, I do this for you, and you know, and I think that there's like a very wounded child behind all of this, you know, somehow like, oh, okay, do I have to do this everything myself, you know, do I have to be the responsible one in here, like, and he will do it, you know, he will do it, but he will do it and complain about it. So there's something about him like actually not being able to just hush, you know, just be quiet and enjoy the process, you know, just be quiet, like it's okay, like, you know, there's no need for you to remind others that yeah, that yeah, that this is, oh, I don't like it here, or this is painful, or like, you know, like you can be in silence actually. Like, I think that actually having a journal or doing some journaling, you know, it could actually help him heal a lot of things. So probably also maybe doing some therapy, you know, where him in sort of like in confidentiality and also in a private setting, he can sort of like work these archetypes, you know, these sort of like what is going on with him and sabotaging his opportunities, you know. And I think that these are his individual dreams. This doesn't have to do with the group. I think that this is him as a man, you know. Probably he has another, he's sort of like, I think that he's changing, but he's like resisting, you know, he's sort of in the process of like, okay, like I want to do something different, but it's like, oh, I don't think I can do it because I have all these responsibilities, so this is not a good moment, I cannot do this. But it's like, if he doesn't take the risk and if he doesn't do it, then he will whine about it all day long. So, you know, it's better to let him go and do what he wants to do. You know, it's better to encourage him to not sabotage anything and just go do it, enjoy it. And you know, maybe if it's this because it's an individual thing and he has, you know, a busy schedule with the group, you know, the others being like, you do it, we will see how we manage things here, but you go and do what you want to do, what your heart wants to do. Like, go and do it. Like, if it's your happiness, go and do it. You know, but he sort of, it's like he needs the others to reassure him that he's not being selfish for wanting to do something different, you know. um, and then let's move on to the cards that he got. He had the Ten of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Page of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I definitely think that you know, he is a guy that he sometimes he worries about the future. The Ten of Swords here in the middle, definitely this year hasn't been easy for him. I think that he, you know, starting with the Ten of Pentacles, I think that definitely, Minho, it's a guy that he has a great community. He has a great support system. You know, he also lives a very comfortable life. You know, like probably at his work, people admire him, respect him. You know, but also he's also letting me know that even though the year started very prosperous, like here with the Two of Pentacles, there's also this feeling of like, you know, I have to adapt to a lot of abrupt changes. Like, we had everything like figured out how our year was going to be, and then all of a sudden something changed and I had to adapt, and I saw myself like, you know, like sort of struggling with being here and being over there and doing this and doing more, and just adapting. And I think that he's someone that he gets very like very uncomfortable when things don't go the way he wants to. You know, somehow he's like, okay, we planned this. This was supposed to go like this, and it didn't. So, you know, again, we have the martyr here, you know, that is like, why things didn't go the way, you know, and here with the Ten of Swords, I believe that he probably had an argument with someone. He said some hurtful things to someone and he knows it. So he's like sort of trying to move on, but he's still with this sort of attitude of the Page of Swords. You know, like he's feeling very sharp. He's feeling very passive aggressive. You know, he's actually feeling like, okay, like, you know, I'm actually like, I have a lot of things to say, and he's sort of behaving like a teenager. You know, here with the Page of Swords, I think that he's like, okay, you better do not come at me with asking me how I feel about this or what I think, because I have some very harsh truths that I want to say, and you're not going to like it. You know, and I think that definitely this is something about him having an argument with someone, you know, probably, you know, I don't know what's going on with the SM, you know, because definitely, you know, he's an SM artist, and I think that the company had been like, you know, sort of his workplace. You know, we start with something, an environment very much of like a community, you know, and sort of like a very safe place for him to work in, and then from the 10 we go to the 2. So it's like from having 10 coins we move forward, and we see that we have only two pentacles, and we have to manage with these two pentacles, when actually in the past we used to have 10 and we used to be prosperous, and now we have two and we have to deal with these two, you know. So I think that definitely he's like tired also of being betrayed. I think that he sort of had some, you know, very there were a lot of discussions, you know, and I think that he said a few things, and things were said to him as well. So he's like, you know, I don't forget what you said to me. You know, he's sort of like hanging on very tight in there about like, okay, like what else can go wrong this year, you know, somehow. But also him feeling like, you know, I'm not going to be quiet. You know, actually, if I have an opinion, I'm going to say it. And I think that sometimes he does feel like he's the only one. Like he sort of feels like, okay, am I the only one that sees what's going on in here? Like, am I the only one that sees the truth, that speaks his truth? You know, quote unquote his truth. This is not. I'm reading for him. I'm not saying that what he's seeing is the truth, but definitely he's sort of like, you know, I have a lot of complaints. You know, I have a lot of things that I want to say. You know, so probably him feeling very nervous, you know, him feeling very reactive also, you know, being like, okay, you better guys do not provoke me, because I have a lot of things. I'm stressed, I'm under a lot of stress, you know, I'm not happy, like, you know, I have a lot of thoughts in my mind, like, you know, if you push me a bit more, like, I'm going to break. um and you know, this is why I think that there's it could be that there's a bit of immaturity in him, but also I think that definitely seeing him represented by this Page of Swords, I believe that this has to do with his life experience. Probably for Minho, you know, he had always felt or was treated like this very immature person, you know, like you know, like you are going to be young forever, you know, like, oh, look, you look younger than your age, or you are much more active than your age, or you will always be forever 18, you know. So I think that they sort of brainwash him to be this forever teenager, you know, this forever very, like, you know, passionate, but also very passionate guy, but very straightforward guy, that he just says what he wants to say and that's it, you know. Very honest, and it's like, and I think that he's like, he hasn't matured yet, And I think that everyone around him also hasn't matured. There's a sort of feeling of getting stuck in time, getting frozen in time with when it comes to the development of his personality. Definitely, he has to work with this sort of like tendency that he has about, like, the feeling like he has to defend himself, like, okay, you said something that I didn't like, and I'm going to say something worse, like, I'm not going to keep quiet. So I think, definitely think that he should, like, also work on this, because I feel like he responds from a place of wounds, from a place of him being very heartbroken, him feeling very helpless, him feeling like, okay, if I don't defend myself, nobody will defend me. It's sort of like me against the world, me against everyone. So definitely, I see him also very lonely, in these cars that he got. He didn't get a single person next to him, Uh, but definitely, I think that for him this year was tough. Like, literally, his mind wasn't prepared for all the changes. I think that he sort of, maybe he had a lot of, probably he had a lot of options when it comes to profession, when it comes to, working in another individual activities. There were a lot of prosperity at the beginning of the year, a lot of, like, opportunities, and all of a sudden he was stuck with only two, and he wasn't happy. He was like, okay, like, I gave up what I had, and sort of like had to deal with what I have that is not very much. And also the money was not very good, so yeah, he's sort of having to adapt, and feeling like, he didn't have security, or sort of a backup, plan. He felt very, like, disappointed, and very, like, sort of like very not supported by others, and left, to just juggle things, just like when they just started, just like a rookie group would do, or just like, someone that just starts would do, or would have to go through, But yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, definitely things are changing. That there's going to be change for him. He's not going to stay in this mood for a while. Probably when his Sagittarius seasons comes, when his birthday comes very soon, he will be able to overcome actually a bit of this bitterness, and also, like, stop, like, being in this very defensive mode, and just, like, finding a bit much more of, mental peace, peace of mind. So I definitely think that definitely this Ten of Swords is a sort of a feeling of feeling defeated, just in general, and I think that he have been feeling like this for a while. This is why I would advise this guy to go to therapy, because this is not about, like, oh, okay, I had a discussion, a disagreement with someone a couple months ago, and this triggered all of this. No, these are wounds from the past. And I think that he's sort of like understanding where it comes from, because with the Page of Swords, there's sort of clarity. He's sort of getting the message that maybe he could be the problem as well. That he could, not the problem, but that in him, lays a bit of responsibility, and that maybe if he considers himself so intelligent, so wise, and so, like, bright, he should be much more, like, connect more with emotions, be much more emotionally intelligence, because there's a lot of anger. There's like an anger teenager inside of him. And I think that in order for him to enter a possible connection, because I don't see him connecting with anyone. Like, I see him all by himself, and if he in the future wants to have his own family, or maybe if he wants to have, like, a significant other, he should work on this sort of, like, aggressiveness that he has, because yeah, he can hurt others with these words, so yeah, I can see him, like, slowly realizing that, okay, maybe I should put down the sword, and slow down. But this year has been challenging for him, very challenging. So yeah, we have to be, respectful of his experience. This is what I'm getting energetically for him today. So yes, guys, this is all I have for him. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.